Hi, I'm Mansoor Sarwar. I'm Director for Technical Services and Pre-Sales for Sage in the Middle East region.
Tell me about your job role, what do you do?
So effectively in Sage, we are the business management software company. We do everything from people to finance to compliance, whether it's your ERP, CRM, business intelligence, payroll, whatnot.
So tell me, in the market there's a lot of movement now to start adopting cloud solutions. So organizations adopt a cloud license, they start using it, business starts feeling good, IT starts feeling good. What's happening after that? Are organizations progressed from that initial cloud experience?
Yes, so it's a mixed bag in our opinion and in our experience. We have seen some of the customers, they have taken the leap of faith and they've gone full in, and now they're even few steps ahead of the first cloud adoption. Now they're talking about IoT, RPA, chatbots, artificial intelligence, all embedded into their cloud technology. But cloud was the first platform that they needed to make the most of this. So there are some companies who have gone down that path, but there's some who are still a little bit skeptic, little bit taking second thoughts about whether cloud is the right platform for them, or they want to move to something different, call it either converged infrastructure or hybrid infrastructure, or some are still debating between local versus global cloud data centers. So they are still in two minds from where we see it, but they are now the minority. This was a majority less than 5 years ago, but now most of them have gone, as I briefly mentioned. But I think what we have seen most is most of these customers are now talking about making sure not only their system is future proof, they are at the cutting edge of the technology, because they understand if the competition takes the decision before them to introduce these leading virtual reality, augmented reality, embedded tools in the customer experience, they'll take the customer away. So people are now thinking of customer experience when they're doing these digital transformation journeys going forward.
Okay, very interesting. But since Sage essentially empowers the finance function, the first question that must have come when you were moving them to the cloud was, how do you manage the data security? What was the assurances that you could give them from a solution point of view? So if they wanted to control their data integrity, data localization, how did you actually manage that issue, which would have come up for most of the finance managers?
Correct. So yeah, that's very obviously the first question we get from mostly finance users, not so many IT users. But what we have done consciously is we did a lot of thought leadership workshops, conference room pilot sessions, gave them enough not only documentation but enough thought leadership and how this is way more secure than what they have in their own data center, in their own server. We even offered that we have some partners who can actually hack into your data center if you want to do this as a POC, to help you understand that your data center is way more insecure than a public data center. We took them around to some of the leading data centers with us also as a site tours. Having said that, Sage being a non-platform vendor, we did not force our customers. So unlike many of our competition, we did not pull the plug on our on-prem perpetual product even today. And if a customer prefers to still stick with on-prem, we don't force them. We give them this roadmap, we give them this visibility that how easy the switch is to this cloud world, but they can do it when and if they are comfortable and ready for it.
So the next step after that was, once they had done the initial leap of faith, like you said, what was the pressure on them to drive additional value? For example, the analytics, the modeling. Other than that, have the end users started dabbling in that area?
Yes, very much. Most of them, the mature organization, we call them digitally mature organization, who have the right leadership at the top, they had this journey mapped out in their head already before they even went for the cloud. Just going for the cloud doesn't mean anything in business, call it in terms of return on investment, because you're just converting your OPEX, CAPEX to OPEX, which helps in a way, but that's not the big thing which is going to move your needle. The big thing which is going to move your needle is, what do you do with this extra investment that you have saved, and more importantly, what do you do with the scale you have just acquired through the cloud? So yes, the smarter, maturer organizations, they started looking at their data in much more sophisticated ways than they could ever before, because of this cloud and big data and AI. So now they're doing this self-service BI, self-service artificial intelligence, RPAs, which are telling them what's wrong with their data, and they're making the decisions before the problem becomes a bigger problem. So call it management by exception. They get alerts that this product or this customer is going to be out of credit limit or out of age or expiring. So they do reactive actions, just to put it in an example first. So yeah.
So all that is enabled by the Sage portfolio of solutions as available on the cloud, or does it have to be on-prem?
So most of our modern products are obviously on the cloud. Our on-prem products are still having lots of these bells and whistles, but the big focus is on the cloud. So most of this modern technology, whether it's AI, chatbots, are embedded in our native cloud. We call it Sage Business Cloud.
So in terms of RPA, robotic process automation, means automating standard processes, and we see some results from the economic intelligence unit that the finance function is generally the top 3 or 4 to get transformed in terms of the back office and other
Correct.
things like that. How does Sage actually enable end customers to implement process automation?
Yes, so this is something which is again very close to our heart, because we work very closely with the finance users and accountants everywhere in the world. I don't know if you followed it in the news or not, but only a few weeks ago we acquired another company in Ireland, which is Auto Entry. The core job of this product or this company is to take your physical invoices and digitize them using AI and OCR, and one step further of entering it into your accounting software as an accounts payable invoice. So this was again one of our recent initiative where we actually invested heavily in acquiring this company, because we like the technology so much. Instead of reinventing the wheel, we thought it's well worth our time to embed it.
The end user doesn't need to build a process to convert their hard copies into, you have actually done it as a solution. So it will be there as an additional solution?
It is now being rolled out into most of our core products as an add-on module. If you subscribe to it, you get this service as well.
This is a huge process improvement, right?
It is. Only for this only we have done some rough maths. It's going to improve 30% efficiencies of the back office, because 30% time of procure to pay team is going into recording, analyzing, and entering the accounts payable invoices.
Very interesting. So who would actually get disrupted? Will it be the organization itself, or will it be like the third-party suppliers who do this sort of back office work? I mean, I think it should affect the back office suppliers.
It will affect both. So people who are offering this as an outsourcing service, like bookkeepers, data entry operators, business process outsourcing vendors, they'll get affected most. But even in-house companies would not need to have that many people to manage this function. So they can use their human force for something more smart, more intelligent, which requires less repetitive admin tasks. What we are trying to do as Sage consciously is take admin out of your job. Whatever is repetitive and can be done by a robot should be done by a robot.
So let's look at the future scenario. I am a business owner, and suddenly I find my finance department sitting idle because they have processed all the documents. What will I actually use this department or these skilled people for? I mean, obviously presuming that I would like to keep the force.
Sure.
But they have become so efficient now that they're idle, right? Which is what is going to happen in the digital age. Everybody, whether it's procurement or supply chain or operations, are going to become so efficient that they will be have time and freedom of thought to look at the next level of business. What is the logical next level for this group of skilled people in finance?
So finance, more than any other department, should learn to re-engage and re-equip themselves with the customer focus and customer facing skills. Who are their customers? Customers of that company, suppliers of that company, employees of that company are all customers of finance. So what they should be doing now is looking at this meaningful data that is coming out of these smart software, smart applications that they have, and take preemptive, corrective actions to improve the quality of service that they're providing to all their customers, whether it's the organization's customers, suppliers, or employees. So that's where most of these people should be retrained, upskilled, and then deployed. They wouldn't, as you're putting it rightly, won't be your typical number cruncher sitting behind the table and then having a 9-to-5 job. Those jobs are becoming irrelevant sooner than later.
It should be a highly skilled team of people, and they should be looking at innovation. And then you have the IT department, which the CIO has always been the person who has triggered the next level of improvement organizations. First it was ERP, the internet, data centers, cloud. So it's always been the CIO. Now you have a team which is being enabled by process automation, who's sitting around and thinking, look, how do we make it more customer-centric? Then give us your ideas on how role play is going to change in the next 5-6 years. There's going to be huge changes in terms of job roles. People will say, I can do your function, you can do my function. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, very much, you're right. And these lines are blurring already, started already, and we can see traditional CFO or traditional CIO are already irrelevant, because A finance manager is supposed to know IT very well, and an IT manager is supposed to know business very well. And if they refuse to do that, they become irrelevant for the organization. So not only they need to cross-skill each other, but they need to work in harmony as a team rather than one department trying to be a cost center, another one trying to be a profit center. They both have to work as a engine behind the organization. We call it a chief digital organization or a chief digital officer ideally. Both these CFO and CIO, for example, can become a chief digital officer, or they can make a committee ideally where they pick up people from each leading function in the business, from sales, from procurement, from manufacturing, from IT, and make a team of experts who are driving the digital journey of an organization. And they need to obviously not only cross-skill, upskill between themselves, they need to make sure this goes down into the organization, cascades, and everybody understands.
One unifying factor would be analytics and the whole metrics of an organization. The more transparent and interoperable it becomes, I think these roles will appreciate each other better. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, very much. So effectively, as we're saying, that data recording or data entry is becoming more and more automated and more a robot's job than a human's job. But then analyzing their data or having analytics at their fingertips is like where human intelligence should probably take lead and start to drive the business forward. So yeah, I think analytics is the only big thing that has come out of cloud already, which is available to everybody. No matter how small or you big are, analytics is already affordable and doable. Other things like your Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, RPA, they have an entry barrier. Very small companies probably will struggle to get them in their stride quickly until they become mainstream. But AI or your analytics have already become a mainstream, and I think every business should be banking on it already.
Now let's look at the pressure on the top. The functional heads, the executive heads, the CIOs, CTOs, CDOs can retrain themselves because they are in the job, they have the feeling of the day-to-day operations. What about the board and the CEO, the shareholders? If they are not progressed enough, the organization will not be able to adapt. What are your thoughts on the shareholder learning? Are we seeing this happening?
Yes, so we haven't seen as significant movement and as significant investments going into this shareholder awareness and board cross-skill and upskill happening as frequent as we would like. Some obviously progressive organizations realized it, and they are not, if they couldn't upskill or cross-skill their board, they have started inviting other subject matter expert to the board for those specific meetings or discussions that, okay, today we're talking about tax, let's invite a tax expert, or today we're talking about artificial intelligence, let's invite an artificial intelligence expert. So some have done this very smartly without spending too much time and energy in cross-skilling everybody, and they give this expert the right platform and the right authority when they come and sort of mentor with those board members.
In a nutshell, what is happening to the Sage portfolio? Will, going forward, AI analytics be more intuitively built in the solution? And before you needed to see, okay, my long list of features, but these will become less and less important as to the outcome, the business outcome that a business certain ends need to meet. Will you need to start tweaking your portfolio? How will you actually look at the Sage portfolio next 2-3 years?
Yes, so that's very right. All our industry was disrupted a few years ago with this whole drive of digital transformation, Industry 4.0, and we were well aware of that. So we started reinventing and rebuilding lots of our products, whether they are on small or medium scale or even on enterprise scale, and whether they are payroll, HR, accounting, finance, or ERP. So all these products have started attracting a lot of investment from Sage, whether it's on AI or modern bells and whistles of making tax digital, for example, in UK, or working closely with the local tax authorities in UAE and Saudi to not only make sure the software is compliant, but it's digitally as modern as the platform would allow it to be. If they're ready for digitally uploading the data, we are ready to do that through our products already.